Okay, we're live. It always gives me that little twinge of, are we really live? But yeah, I see we're live. Brent Leary here, a special Friday edition of A Few Good Minutes here. It's a great day, sunny out in the ATL, and I'm really glad to be talking to Kelly Vincent. Kelly is a VP of Mid-Market and Small Business over at Intuit. Kelly, thank you for making time today.
Yeah, thank you for having me, Brent.
We are really excited to talk a little bit about some of the findings that Intuit had in a survey you did a little while ago, but also this conversation of market size and how companies kind of view themselves
Mhm.
as how where they fit in when the idea of, are you a small business, are you a mid-market, and how that really could impact the applications they use, how they, kind of structure their work. But before we do all of that, why don't you give us a little bit of your personal background?
Oh my goodness. So I grew up in a small town in Wisconsin and went to Boston to go to school at MIT. And then it ended out here in Silicon Valley. So I live right now in San Jose, California, and I absolutely love it. I've got two beautiful daughters, 14 and 16. One of which just graduated from 8th grade last night. So woot woot, congrats.
Congratulations.
And I absolutely love our mission at Intuit. I love the fact that we are so dedicated to helping our customers in whatever way that they need. We continue to expand our portfolio and expand our purview to try to help our customers because we know they're each individual and we're huge fans, obviously, of small business. So thrilled to be here today, Brent.
Awesome. Well, I know Intuit is a huge vendor that small businesses have been relying on for seems like ever at this point. But you also have a title of mid-market. So, or do you? Because I just got that off of LinkedIn. I don't know if that's right.
Yeah, it is. It's funny though, as you are aware, segmentation and categorization is sometimes rough, and different companies have different definitions. But for the most part, what we are trying to do is help small businesses who are on their growth trajectory, who need help becoming more efficient, dealing with more employees, dealing with larger data sets, dealing with more apps that they need to use to run their business. We are trying to help them grow without needing to do massive IT infrastructure changes because we know how disruptive that is to the business. And frankly, we know each small business wants to spend time with their customers, not on their IT. And so that's really our journey, and that's what our mid-market segment is those of you are growing out of that small 1 or 2 or 3 person shop into a larger business.
Well, interesting that you say they want to spend more time with their customers and not with tech, because this recent survey, and I think the survey was kind of based on 10 to 100 employees or something around that area.
Yep.
19 apps are in use on average for those folks.
Yeah, I was stunned. I was actually stunned with the data. I knew it was multiple, obviously, but average of 19 really blew me away. And it really exemplified the absolute pain that small businesses must be in trying to manage across all of these apps. I mean, it's not tenable for running an efficient business. So really, that was part of our journey of how are we going to help businesses do that?
The other piece that was really interesting is, I mean, these folks are willing to pay some significant bucks for the right app.
Yeah, totally. And I think part of that story, Brent, is running your business is how you're making money. If you're taking time away from running your business and talking to your customers and getting new customers, that isn't helping anyone. And so the ROI, your ROI on your time, as you need to spend more time on infrastructure or IT or process, is very diminishing. And so willing to outsource that and pay more money to get that taken care of so it doesn't become a time sink is so critical for these businesses.
Time sink, interesting phrase, because one of the other findings, it says the top 3 reported challenges. Guess what? Time management. 41% said time management. Let me just kind of take a step back. When you talk about, or well, anybody talks about, what kind of business you are in terms of not necessarily the industry they participate in, but like the size.
Mm-hmm.
Why do you think, it's such a kind of a mismatch between what the perception of what the business thinks they are and the technology that they end up buying from a company? It feels like, because there's a bit of a disconnect, that may be part of the challenge or the issue of them ending up buying 19 apps and not really feeling the greatest, like these apps are actually doing what they thought they'd do.
Yeah, totally agreed. And what happens, and what we've seen when we've talked to customers, and every business is so unique and special, and they go and ferret out the tools that work the best for them, right? And I mean, I run a very small business, and I did the same thing. I went to the app store and started downloading. How am I going to manage expenses? Where am I going to categorize receipts? And so when early days, you're looking for quick, easy, cheap options to fill these gaps, right? But then your business grows, and then you get more busy, and then it's time consuming to switch apps. It's time consuming to change processes and change behaviors, and so it's painful to do that. And what we've uncovered is that businesses don't necessarily want to go through that wholesale upgrade, if you will, of their whole system. It's really about adapting to how they want to run their business, adapting to that individual business and how they run with the apps that they want to continue using. And then when you offer alternatives, making the alternatives so seamless and so easy to incorporate into the existing business processes. And I think that's really the from to here when we talk about IT infrastructure. IT infrastructure shouldn't be something that a business has to adapt to, right? IT infrastructure should adapt to the individual business. And that's really what we saw as missing in the storyline when we talked to customers.
I think I may know the answer to this, but are there any specific types of software that are more disruptive if they pick the wrong one early days, their company grows faster than they were anticipating, and because that early day decision for this particular type of software wreaks complete havoc because they were not expecting to grow as fast as they did?
Yeah, that is a great question. Well, if you think about a growing business, and again, talking to customers, it's really critical for these businesses to understand where they are with their financials. And that's typically not the thing that, again, people want to spend time on. They'd love it if that were a click of the button, right? Like, okay, where am I with revenue, and how am I doing on cash flow? Am I going to make it through? Like, so having that all consolidated in one place becomes more and more important as the business grows. And so when you think about how we've constructed our strategy with QuickBooks of being that financial hub and making sure this becomes your source of financials, that's very important as you grow, to make sure that you don't run out of cash, to make sure that you don't overextend, to make sure you take advantage of opportunities as they arise financially. And I think that's so important, especially then to then go into needing to be more compliant over time with regards to taxes and accounting. And it's very important that you've got all those ducks in a row. And so that's really where we come from, which is being that financial source of truth. But it also means that you have a system. So for example, whatever payroll, as you grow, you have more employees, you need a payroll platform of some type, right? But that's also in terms of expenses and making sure that you got that source of truth for all of your employee information. And this is where we come in to connect these pieces together, make sure that you get that single source of truth. Because one of the things that we hear is we talk to people that started running HR at a small business, or we talk to people that start running finance, a small business. And what they say is, we'll stay up all night. You know, we heard stories of like, I am so stressed. What if I miss something and we're not compliant? Or what if I do something wrong with regards to, you know, my new job as HR lead? And what will it mean? And it's very stressful. It's very stressful. We would love to take that stress away and just make it so easy for these companies, but all these individual employees at these companies to spend time on the value add part of their job and not the, is the data correct, or did I get this right part of their job.
We're having a little bit of a bandwidth issue. We can hear you pretty well. The video's a little choppy, but that's okay because at least we can hear you and it sounds good. So we'll keep moving on with this. Let me ask you, are most, or I don't know, have a significant amount of these mid-sized businesses, you know, the 10 to 100, are they doing, are most of these apps now cloud-based, or are they still running some of the more significant pieces to the, you know, the business puzzle? Are they still running it on their actual computers at this point?
Yeah, that is a great question. And we see both, but we also see customers, particularly due to COVID and needing to work remotely and needing to distance and not necessarily being able to be together in the office. We definitely see the desire to go online. And again, the storyline being, we'd like to go online, just don't disrupt our entire operations and our business to do that transition. Help us through that transition, guide us through that transition to get us online, but to make life easy and simple for us along the way. And that's really where QuickBooks and the Intuit overall is really focused on making that super easy for customers to go online. And we have huge help and initiatives and support for customers to do that. And I think that's so critical, again, to solving for these growing customers without disrupting their business.
So it sounds like, in addition to the, you know, the applications, they're really dependent on advice, guidance, because doing a lot of this stuff, it can be very difficult. It could feel very complex, and if it's not really core to your business, it becomes even more of a potential hurdle.
Yeah.
So, what are some of the ways that, you know, you guys are helping them not just have the software, but best practices, using it, understanding kind of how to create a pathway to make sure that you don't hinder the growth, that you're ready for the growth?
Yeah. Yeah, that's a great question. One of the things, I think you're aware, Brent, that we build all of our products on an AI-driven platform. And with AI, it's really empowered us to help customers define where there might be gaps in their data, where there might be gaps in, you know, or financial anomalies that are happening, so that we can surface that. It also actually has helped us build out a platform that makes it easy for us to tell people what they should do next, like recommendations of, hey, here's something that you should do next because we know that this outstanding invoice has been, there for 45 days. Or we're able to guide people more effectively. And we've actually built that into our user interface of surfacing, hey, here's the 3 tasks we recommend that you do. You can do them now or you can save them for later, but or you can dismiss it. But we're letting you know we see this and we want you to see it and handle it how you would like. So we're really, with our AI-driven platform, it's really about making, again, the customer's life super easy so that no balls get dropped and they don't accidentally make a mistake in running the business. And so that's really the power of an Intuit-based AI-driven platform.
I had an interesting question from Gabriel. I've known Gabriel. He's an analyst. He's out there. Particularly, I think he focused on the ERP side of the house. But he says he wonders if these apps include, or do these apps include office tools like Google Sheets or Docs, or just business apps like accounting and expense management. I think that's out of the 19. I think he's trying to figure out what's in that mix.
Yeah, he's absolutely correct. Hi, Gabriel. Absolutely correct that we see in the growing businesses that we work with, we see over 60% of those businesses use apps like Excel. And part of our storyline, again, is making it really easy to go back and forth from the analysis that you want to do in Excel versus the data that's in QuickBooks. In fact, we just launched a new product, Spreadsheet Sync, to make sure that you can go back and forth between QuickBooks Advanced and Excel without losing data, without double data entry, without needing to resync or recreate the charts and the management reports that these businesses create via Excel. So absolutely, Excel, Word, some of these pieces that are just inherent to how people use their business are part of the apps.
I'm going to circle back around to those top 3 reported challenges to business growth that you found in the survey. Number 1 was technology management. And with 18 or 19 apps on average, that's an obvious understanding of why that's a challenge. We talked about time management. That was 3rd. But sandwiched right in between was recruiting talent. What role does getting this technology piece right, technology management and time management, what role do those 2 play in recruiting talent? And particularly, I'm thinking because Gen Z, millennials are on the rise. They're starting to fill more and more of all kinds of employment positions, including management. But what role does having the right apps and the right technology play in recruiting talent?
Yeah, that's funny. I'm not sure if it's exactly just the apps, excuse me, component of that, Brent. I think it's also the network effect component. And if you look at the fact that we have, over 8 million users globally in that use QuickBooks, right? And the network effect of that connection really helps with us being able to offer services at scale. So I think you've heard about some of our expert services, and we offer that throughout the platform for bookkeeping purposes, etc. But there's a very natural extension there to HR services and the ability to leverage this capability that we're building with not only, you can use the product, you can also leverage services and best practices based on this network that we have. And so that's one of the ways that we can help solve all the challenges of HR, and one of which is, as you mentioned, is certainly recruiting and finding the right talent and making sure that you have the right references, that you have the right information. That's really all about the network effect.
This has really been a great conversation, Kelly. And I hope we're fully coming out of this pandemic, and things hopefully will be a smoother going forward than the past 2+ years. what are some of the things that you feel these companies, these 10 to 100, size companies, what are some of the best things that they can do to get on the right path to understanding, you know, bringing the right technology, being able to figure out which of these apps will help them not just a short term, but really kind of fit the path that they want to go on, the trajectory that they want to go on. What are some of the first things that they can do to begin, heading in that right direction?
Yeah, I think part of it is understanding where your pain points are as your individual business and really being able to articulate those, because if what you're seeing is, you and your employees are spending too much time in resolving connectivity issues in your IT, and you are spending too much time entering data across multiple apps and it's very inefficient, or you're facing scale problems because you're growing and you want to spend your time with your customers. I think I really looking inward and understanding if you're at that point, I would say. And then the next step is identifying those problems and then give us a call. We're here to help. This is the whole purpose. This is my whole purpose in life, is to make sure that our team at Intuit is here to help the new customers, our existing customers. We just want to help small businesses that are growing to make sure that they are able to continue on that growth path and that they live their happiest life. Because feeling stressed all the time is not very fun, Brent. And that's really why we're here.
Do you think they'll have a different perception of what technology can do for them once they kind of take the time, a little time up front, to purchase, apps, and also find vendors that don't just sell apps but also help them
Yeah.
with best practices, with being able to chart a more successful pathway forward, where they're able to have a better handle on their expectations and reality kind of being closer together?
Yeah, I 1,000% agree. This is not about getting a vendor to give you a pitch. This is about someone that is willing to sit down and work with you to solve your business problems. That personal touch, that deep caring of wanting your business to succeed is so incredibly important to guide you on the right path to success of what's right for you, what's right for your business, what's right for your employees. And I think finding someone, finding a team that can help you do that and really give that personalized touch is so important. And it's exactly why we've been constructing the team at Intuit to help these businesses the way that we have, because we know this isn't what I did is go to an app store and download an app and start dorking around with it. That's not the right answer for these businesses. They really need that personalized hand holding to make sure it's right for them.
And where could they go to find out more about some of these things?
Well, I would say come to our QuickBooks site and or feel free to look me up. I'm always happy to talk with customers. I am always happy to route you to the right people that can help you design your systems to make your life more easier running your business. So I'm happy to help however I can, Brent.
It's been a great conversation with Kelly Vincent from Intuit. And I have to ask everybody that comes on with me, there's one question I have to ask them. And regardless of how great the conversation has been, the wrong answer may make this our last conversation. So, Kelly, do you, and I'm kind of afraid here, given where I think you said you were from, do you have a favorite NFL team?
Oh, Brent, are you gonna hate me? Are you gonna hate me, Brent? I'm worried. I literally grew up right outside of Green Bay, Wisconsin. So
Oh, you're good.
of course, I have to go with the Packers.
You're good. You're okay. There's really only one wrong answer. And I remember you saying, did you say you went to school in Boston or you did something in Boston?
Yes, I did. I did. So,
See, that
oh,
got me
I get,
afraid
got it.
because
Wink, 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 Brent. Wink, wink.
yeah, because if you had said the Patriots,
We're not friends anymore.
I'm a Rams fan and I lost 2 Super Bowls to them, so it would be rough. But I'm glad you said the Packers. We'll
Yeah,
stick to the Packers here.
I'm all in on the Packers.
Kelly, thanks again and have a great weekend. And everybody else out there, you do the same. I'll talk to you next week. We'll be, doing a few good minutes with somebody next week. We'll figure it out. See ya.
Thank you, Brent. Take care.